On this day in 1987, a rare political event in Omaha, a mayor was recalled. Mike Boyle was a popular mayor, but a criticism grew over his management style and relationship with police. There were several attempts to recall mayors in the decades that followed. Those failed, though. Boyle was out of politics for a decade before re-emerging in 1997 when he was appointed to finish the term of a county commissioner who had resigned.